Bonsoir à toutes et à tous. Goedenavond iedereen en welkom. Vanavond hebben Bozar en A+ het genoegen Martin Rauch en BC, Architect and Studies and Materials, te mogen verwelkomen. We zijn blij om jullie te ontvangen voor deze dubbellezing die kan plaatsvinden met de steun van Pierre et Marbre de Wallonie. Merci à eux. Aborder la thématique de la construction locale nous semble être un impératif vers une architecture durable. Pour ce faire, nous avons fait appel à Martin Rauch, originaire d'Autriche. Il sera le premier intervenant à prendre la parole ce soir. Référence internationale, il fut lauréat en 2022 du Global Award for Sustainable Architecture. Martin Rauch heeft altijd een passie gehad voor het gebruik van natuurlijke materialen in zijn projecten. Hij is opgeleid als keramist, heeft zich gespecialiseerd in het bouwen met leem en richtte in 1999 zijn eigen studio op. Hij zal verschillende van zijn innovatieve projecten presenteren die kenmerkend zijn voor zijn praktijk. Son intervention sera poursuivie par celle de BC, qui propose depuis 2009 une approche intégrée englobant tous les aspects du processus de construction, allant de la conception de projet à l'éducation, ainsi qu'à la recherche et la production de matériaux spécifiques et innovants. Het werk van BC getuigt van een fundamenteel bewustzijn van de ecologische en sociale uitdagingen die bij de bouwpraktijk komen kijken. BC zal het project Woodstock voorstellen, een vakantiewoning in de Ardennen die volledig is opgebouwd met lokale en natuurlijke materialen en aan de hand van innovatieve technieken. Nous clôturerons la soirée par une conversation entre nos invités sur le thème Building with Local Materials, propre à leur pratique, animée par Amaryllis Jacobs, directrice artistique d'A+. De lezingenreeks van 2024 wordt mogelijk gemaakt door een aantal organisaties die wij graag willen bedanken voor hun steun. Onze structurele partner Febelsem, onze structurele sponsor Dieter en IMO, de Vlaamse overheid, la ville de Bruxelles, la région de Bruxelles-Capitale, ainsi que la Fédération Wallonie-Bruxelles. Merci à Bozar pour avoir coproduit cet événement avec A+. Merci aussi au Musée Royal des Beaux-Arts de nous accueillir ce soir. And now I give the floor to Martin Rauch and I wish you all a good A+ talk.
Yeah, good evening. Nice to stay here, and thank you for the invitation. And I want to speak a little bit about my work and about the materials, the earth material. All my life I've worked with earth, and you have here, I'm a ceramist, and I'm a sculptor. I'm also, like architect, not learned, but I do it a lot. And it is, for me, it's very important to try to work. But now, from where come our building material, earth, and also the gravel, the sand, the rocks. It is excavated, it is eroded material from the mountain. And it is always, the still erosion is always working. We have so much material of earth construction, for earth construction. And this poor earth, it is gravel, sand, and clay, mud, binding material. This is the earth material. We can build with this. We have all over the world and in history, the people has built with the material on the ground because they had not so much time and possibility to transport the material they have really used the local material, and if you look around in the history, there are real wonderful, simple building example like the Alhambra, or in Syria, or in or in Egypt, and the material earth is always used in different techniques. We have 40 different techniques in the world, and it is which technique we used. It depends on the geologic situation, on the climate situation, and we had wonderful building towns and examples, and it is only poor earth. It is only, I'm always fascinated if I see like this, or if I build with earth, with poor earth, it is only earth. It is so simple, and sometimes it is very difficult to get a simple way. In our life, we think sometimes very complicated, and to get back to simple, it is not an easy way. It is sometimes a crisis gives me a better solution. If I have to think about this, how I can change it, or because sometimes I have no tool or no experiment, so I have to find a new solution. And this new solution is very important that it is simple. And also in Europe is earth construction a traditional building material. And there is a speech, as I say, earth construction needs a good boat and a good head. And if we look for some details, then it really works. And all over the world we find wonderful experience, but the image of this building are not so good anymore. But it can show me how we can transform in this present. Earth construction in Europe. As a young student, I was wondering, and why we don't build any more in earth construction in Europe. Because it was lose the experience during the industrialization. Because for 200 years we had a real big energy problem. We have took out the coal and later the oil, and we forgot to build with earth construction. Only in crisis we remember that earth construction is a crisis material. It needs less energy, it gives living room, and it needs a lot of work. So, but if the economic system was better, it has changed. Everything what is new is better as the old. For 150 years we have built maybe with 10 or 13 materials. Also stone, wood, everything was 13 materials. Now we are building with hundreds and thousands of different materials. And I have there you see a map of Italy. 1950, there was shown where was still in this century they have built in earth construction, and they don't build earth construction anymore because 2005 it is forbidden to build earth construction in Italy. You cannot build a structured building like my house or everything what we have done. It is a rule, it is not allowed to build earth construction. This is really a pity, and why I don't like it to explain everything. It is lobbyism and everything, and it shows in Switzerland a new renovated rammed earth house from the 19th century in a wonderful condition. There are 100 of earth construction houses in this area. I know a 3-story high factory building in rammed earth since 200 years. It is still alive. It shows a lot what it can be, and all these buildings are built really with the excavation material. And at that time, for 200 years, they built in earth construction because it was cheap, it was good, it was healthy, it was stable, and it was the located material. And the circle, the life circle of earth construction is a circle. A circle is like this. You have the excavation. I think. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. No. Sorry. Excavation. It is. You have the excavation, or you have the building material, and you make the production process. You build, and it goes back, and you can. The poor earth construction, recycling 100 times, 1,000 times, you don't lose the quality of this material. This is really fantastic in the earth construction. Because all other materials, like timber, brick, concrete, is a line. It is no circle. And if it's not a circle, it is not sustainable. So, this map shows a project what we have worked, and we had used only the excavation of the building site. It is, you see, there is mostly it is 100% or 35% you can use a local excavation from each building. If you like, if you have time, if you have space, if you have the possibilities. And this goes very different. We go there, look, make a hole, we take the excavation, make recipes, make tests, then we separate it with normal machinery, and we store it on the side in an old building, and this binding earth gravel is our material. And we make tests, and we look for the best recipe, and we let it always pour earth. And now this picture I want to say, because mostly, if you see in internet, a lot of rammed earth building are not rammed earth building, it is rammed concrete. In America, they said dirty rammed concrete. It is earth construction on the building site, mixed with concrete or with cement or lime or other additives, and then you ram it, you make it more stronger, maybe, but the life circle doesn't work again. And for me, it was always very important to develop the machinery, to develop the tools, and not to change the material. Let the material be poor. Let it be, you can excavate it, you look different excavation material, mix it together that you have a good quality, and you ram it, and I named this calculated erosion. It is like in the nature. In the mountain, the water is running down, and this lime, these are lime plaster, is rammed in there. It is like a speed breaker for the raining water. And the wall gets more rough. The walls are changing, but they are not destroyed. And I have several buildings built with very less roof, and there the speed breaker are bricks, or here with lime. And you see, here is the erosion, here is the sedimentation, here is the erosion, sedimentation. It is always a moving process. It is mostly, it is the calculated erosion is not a technical problem, it is a psychological problem. If after 3 hours rain, a lot of earth is laying on the terrace, the client will call me, what's happened? My house will swept away, but we have to discuss, we have to see this moving, this change of the earth construction, you have to accept. So the same way, if you accept, if it's gray, the wood construction gets gray, change the coloring on like this. There is enough experience I have made in my workshop here with bricks, but you see also in Saudi Arabia and in other countries the same solution. It works very long time. And this earth construction is all over the world in a different way. You can make climate buildings. You see here the calculated erosion, and the form is from the water developed themselves. So I think it's very interesting, and you can also make some arches. We have make it in ETH with students. Ramped arches. Is it possible for building new structures system also in ramped earth? It's so to develop this, and we have to modernize the earth construction, and it is there gives a lot of different solutions. We produce earth construction now. If we have made concrete construction before 80 years, or they developed, it is a lot of changing. My own house, after 25 years experience in earth construction, I wanted to build my own house as a self-experiment. Because as a co-planner, I have planned it together with Roger Bolzhauser. As co-planner, as a client, and as contractor, I have to take all the responsibility myself. And this building is for me very important to get the trust to this material and to this technique. Trust is a very important word. Trust to the material, trust to the system. So we had used the excavation. It is Flüschgestein, it is special earth. And we have 100% excavation mixed only with a little bit water, rammed it, let it dry. It is dry excavation. It is only rammed excavation connected with special, wonderful tiles, and that is also in a good design mood, and also rammed earth floors, plaster with clay, white clay plaster, and here outside the calculated erosion on the east side. There you have really no erosion until 15 years. And you see there is a very monolithic work with earth construction rammed like a rock in the landscape. And the next project, what I have started 2019 to build my own work hall. It is because I need a better tool to make big experiments, to make big projects, and to give. There is our machinery, Roberta. It is a production line to produce earth construction in a modern way, in a economical way, and with this machinery you can build earth construction from 7 centimeter to 85 centimeter with the same material. You change only the tools. The basic machine is the same what we have used for 12 years at the Ricola project in Switzerland. This factory, or I say it's not a factory, it is a manufacture. We make a lot of mode of development like this, and the earth construction behind this is there is no columns inside. There is also the crane, and everything is laying on the earth construction. And it was very important for me to show that earth construction can really be in a bigger scale, that earth construction can load bear it a lot. We get more trust to this, and that is a very sustainable way to build. And also we should not build our houses and living spaces in sustainable way. We should also build our industrial building in a sustainable way. The office building we are still building now. We have produced the elements with raw material, only this rammed earth, the rammed excavation. We have cut it in blocks and then settle up, and you like Lego. You build the house like Lego. And there it is, then the production is, there is a 50-meter long line. You fill this with earth, ram it, then you cut the elements, then you will put out the elements, let it dry. Each element get a number, and then you transport to the building, And so the circle is closed. Excavation, building, and so the circle is very also closed. And 2012, this was a light project with the circular building in Switzerland with Herzog Demero. There was the question to build a factory 110 meter long, 12 meter high and 30 meter wide, a very big work. We need about 8-9 months to production for this. And in this very high cost country, Switzerland, I know it is only possible to produce this factory if we use new machinery, new tools to be more economical. So this factory is for herbs, for storage and working with herbs, and there it is very important also the climate. And so the walls are 45 centimeter thick, and these walls are also a climate aspect because they can take the humidity to bring it out and back. Transolar has simulated first, and after 5 years, they have seen that the earth construction really works as a climate machinery. And this is also a very new aspect. So we mix this together with a little bit water. It is only 9%, it is very dry. And then you ram it. Sorry, it is a video, it doesn't work. There is the machinery goes there, and all the material what we have used, we couldn't find it in a circle of 8 kilometers. Also the gravel, the excavation, the argil or the mud, and also the production side. So this material was transported very less. And then the prefabricated elements was drying and set it only with clay plaster one to the other. And this technique we make very often, and also houses, building system, also you can produce earth block, dried, rammed earth block with no reinforcement or such, only earth alone, and then you can settle up, and with crane you put it on one wall to the other wall, and you can go up, and you can easily build 3-story buildings like this. And then it is here, this is example, we have isolated outside with reed. For me it's also important that the isolation material is sustainable. It is reed, it is straw, it is maybe fiber or like this, and it is outside plaster with lime to protect the isolation, and so you see here, this is my first work space, ceramic studio, from 35 years old, and this is the new house of my daughter, and this is a rammed earth house, load buried, heated by sun, and inside the earth construction is not plastered, that it is the joints of the elements are restorated or the retouche, so you don't see it, and so on. Another very important example is Alnatura. It is in Darmstadt, an office building for 350 people, and for that and was the new solution to make isolated rammed earth blocks. You see, outside is 38 centimeters earth isolation with glass gravel, and inside 14 centimeters earth construction with pipes for cooling and heating. And for that, to produce this in an industrial way, we had to produce 370 elements like this. We have developed a new machinery, there are different tools, and also a lifting system. You have to always to find a solution how you can build it, how you can use it, how you can make this in an economical way. And this is also always, I don't know the English word, Herausforderung. It is really always, an interesting situation. So we have 12 blocks, this 12-meter high, block for block, and the joint, we retouch this, and this is only poor earth. It's no stabilized, it is only poor earth with calculated erosion. And it is, and this picture shows that it is possible to build towns with earth construction. Why we don't do that? Because it is so sustainable, it is so healthy, and it can be a new solution. We have to find a way how we can change the building system. I think it is very necessary to find a solution, and earth construction is one part of this solution. And so I cannot show a lot of different projects. This is a facade for a 4-story building, living house. It is earth construction, 35 centimeters outside, inside 7 centimeters in the middle isolation, and it is a solution that we can use earth construction more as we can think. And what I want to show now, this is a pilot project. What we have still working now is das Hortus project in Basel with Herzog Demmerau. And it is very interesting because it is a combination of earth and wood. I think earth and wood as a building material for the future is really makes sense, because earth has that what wood doesn't have, and the wood has that what the earth not have. And if you marry these two materials together in a good solution, so it is very interesting. And so we was involved in this project. We have in the last 120 days we have produced 15,000 quadrat meter ceilings, filled with earth construction with the local material. As you see here, the building site, here is the excavation. And the building is 5-story high wood building. It has no cellar, only columns for the foundation. And this earth, we have 80 centimeters of this excavation is you have to fill up also in the ceilings. And for that, with Herzog Demeron and CPF Architekteningenieure, we find a solution to develop this ceiling system, and we make mock-ups for firing, and that was a really goal because the earth construction protects the wood construction in firing. The wood, the earth doesn't break down, and I can say earth is better as concrete as a fire protection. And here is the geometric. Also there we have bring in this bureau office 3,000 elements, 3,000 tons and 820 elements. And we wanted to make a field factory. Also we have make tents. There we have produced a machinery to make this in a very new and efficient economic way. And here then they was filled like this, then we have turned and set on the building, and the earth dries in the building. So now we have talked about the walls, we have talked about the ceiling, but also the floor is a very important part, and we have made 1,000 of different earth floors, rammed. Earth floor is rammed earth in a different way. You know, also for heating, you put earth and sand and rammed this like a garden, like asphalt. And to build it in earth construction, it is a very special work. It is king size, also to make a good floor, but if you know it, then it is very sustainable. At least, what needs for future to scale up the earth construction? It needs development, it needs also Forschung, Entwicklung, and so it's necessary that we make our own development. In the Werkhalle we have make high pressure machinery to test, make erosion tests. And the second part is the human, the worker, and it is education, because to scale up the earth construction, it needs educated and skilled workers and people who know to build with earth, who are fascinated of this material. And we have in our company, we have 60% of our volume is personal cost. It is a very high rate, and for that it is, but it is also a good. It's together, but we can discuss it later. My last picture is in a column. There is in Basel. There is a Werbung. It is and what is your and how does your dream home look? And this woman said, to live with my family in an earth house. This is really a Paradigmawechsel if a bank make Werbung like this. And for 20 years, a delegation of bank people was coming to Austria, to my side, to check, is a sustainable built house kreditwürdig? I don't know if it's, it's really changed. But yeah, it is in Europe, the earth is relatively expensive of course the work, but in other countries, the earth construction can be really a very important solution. Thank you very much.
So, good evening. Thank you, Martin, for the very inspiring lecture. I'm Wes de Greef, and I'm here together with Ken de Koman. We will do the lecture today together. The both of us, we founded together with Lawrence Bekemans and Nicolas Koekelbergs BC 12 years ago. And by the time being today, the office consists now out of 3 legal entities: BC Architects, BC Studies, and BC Materials. BC Architects is the architecture company. BC Studies is a non-profit organization for education and for research. And BC Materials is a collective that produces building materials made of the earth. But projects at BC become very interesting when the three entities join forces. We believe that then projects can become not only designs, but become also breeding grounds for experimentation and innovation. And one of these projects that are very unique and very special for BC is a project that we want to show you today. It has the name Woodstock, and it's a vacation house in the south of Belgium. Here you can see an image from Google Earth that shows that it's a very nice setting. It's a super green zone, and it's located in a valley where 2 rivers meet. This is a picture taken by Serge Brisson. It was in November, I think, last year, and it shows that the house is still under construction, although that the house, the design itself, was done in 2018, so it's already a long time that we are building to this house. You can see that in November we were building the wooden structure, so the stone towers were already there. And that's also the thing that I want to explain you today, how we really went very far in using local materials and especially the excavated materials. But to explain you the process of the house, I want to show you why we built it there and how it is conceived. You can see here in the image made by Ludovica from our office, the house that was built there. So there was a house on the site. Here you can see it. It was a very long house, very narrow. It was 3 meters wide. So not really convenient for a vacation house for a family. So we didn't keep the building also because when there was a huge inundation, and more we see that it's coming back every year, the house was also inundated. So it was not accessible anymore, because the road that leads towards the house was also affected by this inundation. So we proposed to raise the main floor of the house 2 stories up. And by this, we also made the house accessible from the road behind the house. So now it's 2 stories higher than it was before. You can see here in the axonometry the design of the house. It has the same square meters and the same volume than the house that was built there. And that was also the rule of the permit, that we had to use the same footprint of the house. So we had to build it on the same footprint, and we had to respect the amount of square meters and volume of the existing house. But by lifting the house 2 stories up, we also freed up the valley. And in this way, we could give the valley back to nature and reconnect with the 2 Natura 2000 zones that are on both edges of the valley. So this is a picture from the model that we made in 2019. You see here that the main floor is on the second floor. That's where the vacation house of the family is. And in the towers, we allocated the guest rooms, the bathrooms, the technical rooms, all the wet areas. And the idea is also when the family is there and they don't have other family members or guests that are joining them, they can close the towers and the house doesn't feel so big. The house has 7 bedrooms, so it's a quite big vacation house. But the idea was also that to keep it a warm setting, that you don't really perceive it as a house with 7 bedrooms. That's why I also want to show you this 2D plan. That's the main floor. You can see that the access of the house is behind the house that connects to the street. Because of course it's a vacation house for all generations. So it also needs to be accessible for a wheelchair. So we had to find a balance in between the new level of the house and the level of the street behind the house. You can see that when you enter the house, in front of you, you have the 2 bedrooms for the children, with on the left side for you a tower that allocates the bathroom for the children, and more to the east, so it's for you the right of the screen. It's an office, the main bedroom, and the main bathroom. To the west side, for you the left, you have the living room, the kitchen, the dining room, and a big terrace overviewing the valley, and also the possibility to give dinners in the evening sun. Around the house, you have a balcony all along, and on one side at the front, you have an overview over the valley, while on the other side, you're on the level of the hill, and you're really in the trees. But that's something that you will find out later in the presentation. But for this presentation, we want to show you how we built up the 3 towers, because that's where we went very far in research of the nature stone of the region. Because for the project, we really want to work with as much as possible local materials from the surrounding. So for us, the first quest started to go and search for these local materials. So we did a lot of research in quarries from the region. We found that there were a lot of them, especially in that region in the south of Belgium. This is a picture, I think, from the quarry of Fresnel. So we really visited a lot of quarries. We found out that some are smaller than others. Sometimes it's only just a family that has a quarry. But we seeked for a huge volume to build this house. So that was also a thing that we really, that was very important for us. But we are BC, so we even searched a bit further than using nature stone. And the crucial moment or the unique moment came when we had a talk with the people from GBA, from the quarry Grès de Bois d'Antine, and especially with Anne Bonson. And she said that we also could use the nature stone from ruins that were built on the quarry itself. This is a picture of the house that we could use, so the stone that we could use, and they say that it's the house of the former family that started the quarry of GBA. And it's funny, but when we started the project, we didn't know how the building would look like, and especially not the nature stone towers. And this picture shows that we were very impressed, and that it was the first moment that we imagined how the building would look like. This picture is a picture taken, I think, last summer, when the nature stone towers were ready. You can see that they really look alike. We also really liked the way how they were built up before the cement came up. So the old house was built with a lime mortar. So we also built up these towers also with lime mortar in the idea that once, imagine in 1,000 or 2,000 years, they demolish this building, that they also can reuse this nature stone. This is a picture when we started with the building of the nature stone towers, and you can see that we are starting on a carpet of gravel. You don't see foundations. That's also something that we didn't put here. It was also in the permit. We can't use poured concrete on site because we are in a nature zone. And we had to find a solution. But when we were digging on the site, we found out that 60 centimeters deeper or 1 meter deeper, we touched solid ground. It was a huge rock layer under the site. So we had just to dig out all the earth and to replace it by gravel. And we stabilized the gravel with geogate. So even for the foundations, we just used local materials from around, so gravel from the quarries and not concrete. So we founded these towers just on nature stone. So from the earth until even the roof, it's only built with nature stone. And of course, we can't do this alone. We also always seek for good craftsmen that can work with this nature stone. Here a picture of Nicolas from Advitampier, the one that also teaches us how to build with nature stone, because we are architects, we don't really know how to work with these local materials, so we always need good craftsmen that teach also us how to build with these stones. When we started drawing together with them, we start, of course, with a 2D drawing drawn on site. Then we go back to the office, we draw 2D plans, and from there we also draw 3Ds just to understand ourselves how to deal with details, with insulation, with a regulation about PAB, just also to understand how the building can look like and how we can solve things that we have never learned before. Because working with local materials and new solutions, we also have to learn. We can't find all the solutions in books, and we definitely didn't learn it at school. This is a picture from the building almost finished. After the building, of course, there are coming like the finishes. We had to find, or we still have to find the solution for the joints. And that's also something that we learned on the way. When you use materials that you can buy in a shop, you can easily find which kind of colors that you need. But when you work with local materials, you always have to do tests and to see and to be impressed in what kind of colors we can find. Here you can see a picture how we are building the wall. It's a 50 centimeters thick wall, completely built with lime mortar. And you see that also the size of the stone is linked to the craft itself, because we have to carry these stones, or not we, but the craftsmen need to carry these stones. So that's why we didn't choose for really big stones. I think also the handling of the material decides also the material itself and the way how the building looks. This is a picture from the construction site. I think we were at level 2. And here we found out that also the nature stone has its limits. We defined on a plan the size of the windows, but here you can see on the picture that when a window is smaller than 1 meter, you can just continue with the nature stone wall. But when you exceed the 1 meter width of the window, then you need to bring in arches. Here you can see that we had to build an arch above the nature stone lintel to bring the forces to the wall, so that the weight of the nature stone wall is not leaning on the lintel itself. But when we talk about vaults, another thing that was very impressive when we checked the quarry of GBA and when they were showing us what kind of structures that we could reuse, we also saw some vaults. And these vaults also inspired us, these structures. And we thought, why not also bringing in vaults for the structure itself? So the bathroom the main floor level had 2 bathrooms, so we chose to also bring in the vaults for this structure because it's a really wet area, so it's maybe interesting that everything is made out of nature stone. This is an image that we made just to show us in the office how the bathroom can look like, and also to convince the client to work with this nature stone and to make these vaults. Structurally, we also had to check with the engineer how it is possible to use these vaults. And because the vault is quite low, we had to bring in tension cables. Here you see what tension cable, and it's to dispatch again the forces that are coming from the vault on the walls. It also things and elements that we had to bring in afterwards. These are things that we didn't design in the beginning, but working with these local materials, it's always like finding solutions on the moment itself and to try to tie everything together and to bring all design ideas, concepts and materials together. You can also see in this image at the back that we also use some rammed earth, but Ken will explain later how also earth from the quarries, like how this is also conceived in a way that it's also a part of the design of this project. Now to explain you that the nature stone is not only used for the towers itself. I want to show you also this picture from Serge Brisson, because here you see that the wooden structure is leaning on concrete prefab elements that are just leaning on the gravel carpet. And the engineer was not afraid that the building was too heavy, but he was afraid that the building was too light. So with a huge storm, there was a possibility that the building would be lifted up. So we had to put a lot of weight on the roof because the foundation is not tight, it's not anchored in the ground. So because we have to put a lot of weight on the roof, we as the architects, we really like it because we can make a roof not only with tiles, but we can also put nature stone on the roof. So we checked together with Advitam to make some prototypes, first small prototypes, but we had also a bigger prototype of scale 1:1 on the construction site. That is now a cabin, and that gave us the opportunity also to check the roof really on scale 1:1. And we saw that when we stack nature stone as tiles, that it was inclined in the wrong way. Go back here, you can see that if you start with one rock and you stack it like tiles, then the last one is really in the complete opposite direction. So, and also in a way, the engineer said that we just could use 4 centimeters to 6 centimeters of nature stone. So here the roof became too heavy. So that's why we chose to go for opus incertum. It's a way how to lay these nature stone, and the joints were filled with gravel from the quarry. So in this way, we can also give place to nature to also inhabit this building. So after a while, probably in a couple of years, the building will also become completely green, and on the roof, you will also see that plants start to grow. This is an image when you're standing on the street behind the house that is going up. So from a certain moment you can overlook the house, and I think it will be a very beautiful image when the roof is done, and in a couple of years when it's green, it will become really a part of the landscape and of the nature in a quite artificial way. But I think it will become something very beautiful, and I think that the nature stone and the surrounding landscape will completely blend in. Also, the entrance spot towards the house is also made with the same nature stone, also the opus incertum. So when you walk towards the house, you also can see above the roof. So in a way, it also brings together the entrance spot and the roof, and you don't even perceive where you're heading to. And that's also something that we found out later, but it's something very beautiful. This is when you arrive at the entrance of the house. This picture is taken, I think, a month ago. So the complete wooden structure is built. You can see to enter the house that you have to cross a nature stone bridge. So we also had to build the entrance tower. And it's like you cross a bridge to enter or to step on a boat. So that's why we also call the wooden structure the boat, because it's really floating above the valley. And this is a picture from in the living room looking towards the kitchen and to the dining room. And now that the wooden structure is also built and the roof is on the structure and on the house itself, it's a moment to also design the interiors. So again, a new search and a new quest to find materials for the interiors. So we want to go super far. Of course, we choose again for nature stone. And also for here, we have to find solutions for floorings. We also try to make the countertop of the kitchen out of nature stone. Then the quest is like, what kind of nature stone from Belgium can we use for the countertop? And what kind of solution can we find to make these floorings? Because of course we can't do it in the same way than the entrance spot and the roof, because that would be very difficult to clean. So here, the new quests, this is a picture from 2 weeks ago, I think. We are checking for terrazzo's also in a sense that you can link it with the opus incertum entrance spot. But here again, we are searching for colors. For us, this doesn't match really well. The floor would be too blue according to the colors of the wall itself. So we are searching together with the people from the quarry, from GBA, to find the stone in the quarry itself that has more brown tones to bring it closer to the colors of the wall. And it's because we work with local materials and materials that we excavate out of a quarry, it's always searching for colors. And I think Ken can also explain a bit more how we can find colors for the earth materials, and that are also colors that join the colors of the nature stone that we used.
Yes, hello. So I will talk a little bit more in detail about what we specifically did with earth construction in this project. And so it also shows a bit, that's why we're also here with two. We're with a much bigger team, and we do a whole range of activities, let's say. So it's design, architecture, but also education, material production, execution, sometimes a bit of lobbying and activism. And so I think when we dive, for example, a little bit deeper into this material, it will start to become clear the wideness, the width of activities that we undertake in BC. So this is a quarry from near the site. And so this was our starting point also, not only for the nature stone, but also for the rammed earth that was made in this project that we used for the wall and for the floor. And also was an inspiration for plaster development, so the wall finishing. Different colors in the quarry as we see here, yellow, red, gray, and so on. And so it's always a challenge working with local materials to keep your colors constant. So when you research and when you execute in those 1 or 2 years in between, things might have changed in the quarries. So here we did use the gravels and the washed silts and clays from the quarry into different mixtures. That's a process that we also saw in the first lecture from Martin Rauch. that we also do all the range of testing on in the laboratories to be sure that the material is up to its function, that its application can be done with the resources chosen. And also a work on aesthetics. So it's multiple materials in a project, so we need to get the materials kind of synced with each other. So it's about, for example, here the ram dirt floor that was made from these local geomaterials. Do we make it into a terrazzo also? Do we leave it as an earth floor? Do we go for a rougher floor finishing? This is all to be tried on samples, and then we go to a bigger scale, prototyping. And so here we see the wonderful Brecht, one of our experts in rammed earth at BC, here putting the floor in the art center of Hasselt. It's Z33. And so we use this kind of exhibition of the art center where we could show our work. We use this also not only as a moment of scenography, but also as a research where we can try our developed materials in a bigger scale. So here we see, again, the cylinders that were chosen, together with the floor and the plasters in an arts center setup, which is actually also a prototyping space for us. So like this, we always try to weave storylines together, opportunities together to make this happen, because it's not obvious to make this happen, making these materials from local materials, getting everybody on board and assuring everything that this can be done. It needs lots of time, lots of budget, and lots of convincing, lots of, let's say, human interactions also. And so we try to, weave these stories to give them more power, to do also prototyping and to evaluate technically how it goes, so that we can really implement these materials into the construction site. And so in the end, it's Matthias and his team from Lemniscaat, who's also here present today, that did the ram dirt works in Tarnion. So this is a bespoke project where we develop based from the materials on site into a project. Now, with BC Materials specifically, we have been thinking, like, if we do this every time from the specific construction site into a specific project, it's really a lot of research that every time has to be done again anew. And so cannot we find a system, cannot we find a way how to do this in a let's say, a low threshold way for other people to just implement these materials in their projects without all the extra research to be done and so on. So that's the idea of Leem, a product range that is started up by BC Materials. And so, yeah, this product range is existing of different types of building materials that we produce in Brussels and at different partners in Flanders and Brussels, where we have plasters for wall finishing, paints, compressed earth blocks, molded earth blocks for masonry, rammed earth mixes for rammed earth walls and rammed earth floors, and a lot of accessories around it. So this product range is made, just like these bespoke projects that we saw today, is made from excavation sites in Brussels and Flanders at the moment, and we're looking to Wallonie in the future, where we in fact use the excavated earths from big construction sites, urban construction sites, to use to make building materials. Just a quick anecdote here on the top, we see the Brusseliaan zand. It's Brussels sand, which historically was used as a mortar for making mortar. And we had little different quarries here in Brussels. For example, Saint-Gilles, the city hall of Saint-Gilles is built on a quarry, Sablon, and so on. And we see here in low part of Brussels, around the canal zone, we see the more clayey and silty alluvial deposits that were done around the river, the Seine. So yeah, this is our resources. This is the Brussels sand from High Brussels, excavation of underground parking here. And we tap into this huge excavation streams that are being done in Brussels and in Belgium every day. A little bit on a different site in Brussels, we find Ypresian clay layer, a very high quality clay, which in Flanders is also used to make baked bricks. But here we tap it unbaked, of course, in our materials. Coarse material, we don't have so much geologically in Brussels and Flanders. So for coarse material, we use the demolition of buildings in different kinds of materials, and then we mix it together into our different products. As an example here, we see compressed earth production. So it's also important for us to use the knowledge which is out there and the machinery that we have in Belgium, which is totally not used at 100% of its capacity, but which can very much make earth building materials from high quality. In this case, being a concrete block production facility in Lummen, near Hasselt, where we insert earth to make compressed earth blocks at a scale that renders these products also very democratic. And so, the idea is to use and to make these building materials available for all kinds of projects ready to replace fossil fuel intensive materials. But it doesn't also stop there, let's say. Like BC Materials, next to its bespoke projects, gets a lot of information and knowledge by doing these projects, of our own architectural projects with BC Architects, but also the bespoke projects that we do with other teams. And so this knowledge we keep on constantly feeding ourselves. It's like a feedback loop between the bespoke things that we do and the material range that we set up. And this example, for example, something that we're going to launch as a stock product, as a product range, part of our product range this year is a earth screed. It's poured. And again, it shows that using machinery that everybody knows in our construction culture, but in fact, inserting earth can again lower the costs, lower the thresholds also to use these materials, and insert earth again in our knowledge. A small anecdote from the workshop in Rabat that we were doing a few weeks ago. It was with Emmanuel, who was here also. We were talking about traditional materials in Morocco, earth and fibers and so on, that people still, this is traditional materials in Morocco, and that's considered by the society as traditional materials. And then the Belgian delegation was saying, that's weird, because when we talk about traditional materials in Belgium, they mean the concrete block, the big brick, and so on. And so it really shows that, I think there's a lot of knowledge of how to do things that we can use. And let's say the traditional knowledge in Belgium, it's also a kind of craftsmanship, knowing how to work with these machinery, how to get good products out of it. So there is knowledge available. It's just that with little tweaks, we can insert something totally else into this machinery and create really high quality products that everybody can use today and that can replace the fossil fuel and intensive materials today. I think that's a bit the message that we want to attach to the bespoke projects. In fact, we need to learn from these innovative, small, one-off projects, let's say, and really get the knowledge out there and work towards changing our building culture, let's say. Thank you very much.
I saw your work for the first time in 2008 in Z33, Open Structures exhibition. So you both kind of have this art background. Could you tell us a bit more about that and why from this background going to construction?
Sorry. I was coming from the ceramic and the sculpture, and the first use of earth construction, I wanted not to build a house, I built a sculpture, and the earth was a part of a material, like an artwork. And as a student, I was also, because my family was involved in Africa, and as 16 years old young person, I was going to Africa and I have seen the earth construction there. And I was very fascinated of, these are like a ceramic pot for living. So it was another scale. And the goal was that I have seen that earth construction was also a traditional building in Europe. It is not a building material, a building system for Africa for dry seasons. You can find earth construction from Norway until Gibraltar. So if I have seen or think about that, that I was very fascinated. And then in Vorarlberg, we have a very interesting building culture where the client is more risiko friendly, and young architects make very interesting wood buildings, and there was a very good space. And so this was, I was moving from the ceramic to the architect design and building.
Yeah, I think coming from the art is maybe a big statement, let's say, but there's something which I totally get. I think there was we come from St. Lucas, Brussels, which already has a kind of artistic or conceptual mindset as an education. And I think our interest into participating, for example, in the open structure project back in the days was a search, a curiosity towards, okay, what is this now, this architecture, and what can we do with it? And in this search, I think it's just that, it's just maybe the searchingness of it is maybe the artistic kind of feel that it has. In this searching that we did, this trajectory, we also did workshops, for example, and that's where we actually got introduced to earth construction. It was at the first workshop that Martin Rauch and Anna Heringer did in Gmunden with the base habitat. And so, yeah, it really kind of opened the mind, let's say, and in fact also, again, experiences on the African continent, together with that, really made us search more in that direction and continue the search up until today to keep on learning from everybody that we encounter. And so we also try to recreate this learning process, this search with other people, and that's why there's so many workshops. Also, Martin also does that. So many workshops, so many communication, so many sharing moments that we really have to be together and prototype and do and make, because it's only that will make us discover, different directions in our construction sector.
You also started somehow in Africa. You did the library in Burundi. How would you compare the way the Woodstock project is conceived and built with the library of Muyinga?
I think it starts both with searching for local materials and understanding the local materials. In Africa it was different because there were no other materials that we could get, because there were no shops. So we had to find solutions there. So we found that people were experts in building with earth. So that's when we brought earth as a building material for the Muyinga library. It was very strange, but for the people there, it was linked to poorness, because it's linked to poor people. But we had to convince them that they had the key to build the most sustainable way that is possible. And for the Woodstock project, we also search for local materials, but there it's convincing the clients and people that local materials are the most sustainable thing to do. And here we have to find, or we have to fight against the big industries that are spoiling us with with really a lot of building materials that are not so sustainable. So in a way, they both start with the knowledge of the local materials, but it's the way how we started is a bit different, I think. But it's all, yeah, it's with the local materials.
You both are trying to increase in scale. I think that's what you're both doing. You with now the Lame brand, bringing. When you started and you were explaining this beautiful project in the Ardennes, and but then you explained how in this kind of context you learn a lot in this kind of context where all of this looks quite expensive. You started the Lame brand, and then Martin. You are working on bigger and bigger constructions. How can we convince more people? How can we work towards a systematic change in the construction sector?
Yeah, there's also the sustainable question is a big thing. Also that we know we have to find sustainable way for building system, but we should not talk, we should really do. Because 45% of CO2 in the world is from the building industry, and it is not the flying and the cars and like this. It is real, the building industry, and there we have to change really, and we have to find new solutions, and also from the cost we should calculate the true cost of material, of concrete, of brick, of wood. Also, wood is only sustainable if it is a sustainable forced wood economic like this. And to change, that is I think it is important to build and to make to develop and also to make education that the companies who are interested to change this issue, that they have enough skilled workers and like this.
Yeah, very similar. I think it's a very big question, how to change the systematics of the construction sector. It's linked to politics, to economy, and to so many other things, anthropology. And so, yeah, we try. I think that's the first step, to just go for it and try. And we kind of try it through the word, the term, the act of building. So we don't necessarily see a design or a construction. It's like an act of building where where so many people are collaborating on something very complex. And for us, this word, the act, is quite crucial. It's the act is at the same time taking action. It's like the doing, the making, the being together, the prototyping, the feeling together, what things can become. So putting your hands in the dirt. But the act is also for us the performance, the story, the impact that it has here on the minds of people. And so this link between hands and mind, I think for us, that's what we believe, that is one of the crucial parts of trying to bring change. But I hope that a lot of other people have lots of other ideas, because only we need to solve it together, and there need to be a diversity of approaches and ideas and strategies, because it's a very big problem to undertake, and the sector is is quite conservative, that we have already experienced.
And what I want to say, but that I see in the last 1 year, the building system from living space in Austria and also in Germany break down a little bit, but the interest of public building is very high. So we have in a pipeline several public building who really want to build in rammed earth and also ceilings like this. There is a lot of interest, and this makes me hopeful. And I think to change this, or the upscaling earth, it is also necessary the size from the political system. And it is a cost problem. So maybe there it is also to find new solutions.
Also, yeah, interesting to add on that. Yeah, I find it very interesting to follow the different initiatives. For example, how TerraBlock in Switzerland is trying it, like changing the construction sector. Lehm ton Erde, Erden in Austria. Cycletaire in Paris. You know, all these kind of actors are coming up, and what they do is always very much linked to their specific construction culture. And so I think that we need to go towards that kind of realization, that it's a culture that needs to change, which means habits, ideas, routines, and that there's no one solution which will change a culture. You know, like yeah, different places, different resources, but also different mindsets that need to work towards change.
And if we speak about, like, for example, the Woodstock project, for me it was very shocking when we went to search for the local material and the nature stone, that we told the people in the quarry that we wanted to build with full stone walls, and they never heard that it was done in Belgium. So it was also strange to see that it's always used to stick against a concrete structure, and that there are no buildings anymore that are built completely in nature stone. So sometimes it's like the materials are there, they're already used, but it's like the techniques behind the materials that are lost. And that's why we think that it's very important to do projects and to innovate, but also push again for craftsmanship and local craftsmanship, because we think that the concrete industry is too it's too much there. So we have to really invest time and money again in local economies and local craftsmanship.
You both work with other architects. One of them is Jonathan Tuckey. You built in Wiltshire with him and worked with a local contractor whom and you taught him to use the traditional techniques. How do you learn?
Yeah, this was an interesting project, but not easy. Also with the local contractor to build, and there it is also some problem that they had no skilled workers, and it was really difficult to realize this project, but they had worked long with this, and this was an interesting building because it was local material. It was the waste of the old material and the clay. Also it was 100% from the local material. But it is not an easy way, but it was possible because the client is wanted, and he is also responsibility for future and wanted to develop this. And I think also to scaling up, it is very important that we as client, as engineer, as architect, as the political situation, we we take responsibility for a future sustainable building system. Example, in our government, in local land government in Vorarlberg, they have given us money not for a design study. We have invited 3 architects, and we have prototyping one, and we make the calculation, and then we see, okay, this house is 30% more expensive in a sustainable way as a normal, in the same quality with normal situation. Now they said, okay, they give us a new design study, and if we are able to build in a bigger scale, and it is only 10% more, the government will pay this 10% for a light project. So this is a very interesting thing that from all sides they want to change. And in Vorarlberg we have a lot of Leuchtturm project, and for earth construction it is very important that you can touch it, that you don't talk, that you build and you take risk. And I say it is from my side, is not only it is calculated erosion, it is calculated risk. The most problem in the building system is that nobody wants to be responsibility for something. We have too much norms. Nobody wants to take risk. We want it all to be safe, and we cannot change. That is our problem.
You also worked with Turkey on a tannery in Belgium, and are working with the local community. Can you explain something about that?
With the local community in Virmaval.
Construction workshops?
Yeah, we are giving a lot of workshops at BC. That's what BC Studies is all about, because we want to learn as much as possible people how to work with those ecological materials, and especially earth materials. So we see that every week there is a workshop at BC in our hall, at our office, and we see more and more every year the number growing. It's quite impressive to see how much people that are willing and are eager to learn to work with these materials. So I think it's not only the building industry that is changing, but I think it's also the mindset of the new generation that is changing, and that's very interesting to see. We at BC, there are a lot of us that are teaching in universities, and we see that it's not only there that we can see what the new generation is eager for, but we see that when we launch a workshop that a lot of people are inscribing. So a lot of students, but also contractors and everybody that is interested is passing at BC. So a huge community that is eager to learn to build different.
Martin, you're also teaching in Zurich. How do you work with students in your research-oriented? How do you work research-oriented in your work with students?
Yeah, if we make always workshop with the students, also doing, also it's an example, make your hand dirty, and it is very important to touch, and we make also together with Anna Hering a lot of with the students clay storming. Clay storming is a system that you play with clay, and you work with this like a child, and to get more. And also, if we work together, we work with clay together and less speaking. So then there is another sense to get to the solution. And yeah, it's doing that is for me very important.
Mm-hmm. So it's up to the next generation to start thinking together. Politics is important, I heard. I think it's important to try to democratize what you are doing with LAME. So the future is looking better. Thank you very much for this talk.
Thank you.